everyone. Welcome back to the Women with Wings podcast series, an initiative by Thai Bangalore aimed at celebrating, sharing, and nurturing the entrepreneurial journeys of Thai women entrepreneurs. Women with Wings podcast is a one-of-a-kind initiative in unleashing the limitless potential within, taking risks, and reaching for audacious goals. On today's podcast, we are honored to have Ms. Goda Raghavan, whose expertise lies in corporate transactional legal advisory encompassing general corporate matters, legal support for startups, funding guidance, private equity, joint ventures, and mergers and acquisitions. Her proficiency shines in providing straightforward and practical solutions to navigate any legal challenges clients may encounter in their business endeavors. Ms. Raghavan comes highly recommended by Chambers and Partners Asia Pacific Guide as the foremost lawyer for corporate commercial transactions. Additionally, she has earned recognition as one of the top female lawyers in India by Asia Legal Business, and her firm boasts top ranking acclaim from the Legal 500. Welcome, Goda. It is really such an honor to be speaking with you today.
Thank you, Dhruti. Thank you so much.
So it would be great if you can just start by learning a little bit about your journey as a legal advisor.
All right. So it's been 15 years since I set up practice. But before that, I have an undergrad from University Law College, a master's in law from the London School of Economics. I am also a qualified company secretary and a recipient of the gold medal for the state of Karnataka for one of the levels in the company secretary examination. So then I began my journey. I was working with HSP Partners in Chennai, where I started off my practice with corporate commercial work and then set up my own firm. And it's been about, I think, 8 years now since I've been heading and building the corporate transactions practice at my firm, AK Law Chambers.
Amazing. And what an illustrious career you've had so far. And I'm sure you have miles to go. So, just to understand a little bit better, how does being recommended by Chambers and Partners enhance your corporate legal advisory capabilities?
So we as a firm firmly believe that, in the market, there are a plethora of awards. You can literally give yourself an award and call it an award, right? So Chambers and Partners is probably one of those recognitions that we pride ourselves in because it has no monetary aspect to it, and it's purely based on merit. It is an international ranking, and very happy to be a band one firm in Chennai, and that's one of the recognitions. I think the more the pride that we get in our work and what drives us is more the feedback that we get back from our clients. I'm not the unreachable person. I think that's the plus and the minus you get about a private practice as opposed to being an in-house or working with a larger size firm. In a private practice, you're never off the radar. You're never on vacation. You're always answerable to all of your clients.
Yeah. So you're always reachable. You're very approachable. I think those are some of the traits. Yes.
You should be.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think it's one of the prerequisites, as you said, right? It's a must-have. It's not a good to have.
Correct. With private practice, that's definitely one of the must-haves.
Yeah, absolutely. And in what way does your recognition as a top female lawyer influence your approach to assisting the women entrepreneurs?
A lot, actually, right? I think it's also changed over many years because, in the beginning, one of the first few deals we did, I was the only woman in the room about 8 years ago, right? And, my partner who handles the disputes practice was often asked to say, oh, can you just ask sir for an approval, even though he had nothing to do with my transaction, right? So we've been through all of this to say, okay, it's okay to take sound legal advice from the woman in the room, if you like to call that. And we've come a long way since. Like, recently we closed one transaction where the whole team, like my whole team, was an all-women team. The other side council was also an all-women team. The council advising the other side, their whole team was all women. So I think we've really come a long way. And some of these recognitions, again, like I said, right, these recognitions are good to have, but that does not necessarily validate how good you are. But for people to take more seriously, I think for people to, it adds that value. It adds that value, right? And I think that conversations or building that network is also that much easier. But it's the perception of having a woman at a negotiation table, giving you business advice, giving you decisions on business, all of that has definitely changed, but can change a lot more.
Of course. And I think the generation today needs to feel that sense of gratitude to women who have paved the path for them. And it's women like you and many others who have been speaking at TIE who have really been trailblazers in their own right. And, you were maybe the only one back then, but today you have a table full of women lawyers, and that says a lot. You've definitely come a very long way. Can you also shed some light in terms of the work that you do with startups in particular?
Sure. So, like I said, right, initially so Chennai is a very conservative market. So when I set up practice, there were like a handful of firms that were really advising corporate work as a specialization. The mindset was, if I have a familiar face who happens to be a lawyer, that one person will handle everything: real estate, family law, employment advisory, corporate, litigation, civil, commercial, everything, right? But that's changed. That's changed a lot, and we're happy to have played a pretty significant role in setting up a sizable practice in the city. And I think the good part about COVID was that it really dropped all boundaries, in the sense of saying that your geographical location did not really make that difference. So we advise clients, both promoter side, the companies, and a lot of HNIs, angel investors, who are looking to invest in companies as well, and also on the investor side. So we advise all of them during either it's a fundraise, a private equity or venture capital investment, or in an acquisition space as well. So we do both. And we handhold our clients through the whole process. I think also what we help, and we time and again keep telling our clients, is that you don't really have to come when there's an issue. You don't have to find a lawyer only when there's an issue. The legal expense is a very important expense, the way you would factor in a bookkeeping expense, right? Or an auditing expense. All of these, or even a marketing expense. Because if you do something wrong fundamentally on the legal front, or if there is some kind of non-compliance that comes about, it becomes very hard. I mean, I can give you an example.
Absolutely.
Right? So there was this one transaction that we were advising on, and a very small thing. They had gotten a company incorporated, and the promoter had not taken due care to follow up and get the share certificates issued of the company. Now the company is going for a large size, a fundraise, and during the due diligence, the counsels who are conducting the diligence are asking for the share certificate along with proof of the fact that the certificate is stamped. Now, when the company was incorporated, it would have been a nominal amount, 1,000 up to 5,000 rupees. I think not a very substantial amount, but it's an activity that should have been done, right?
Correct.
Now that come under not done. It's been several years since then. Not able to trace where the share certificates are. Not really sure whether they have been stamped or not. And now we have reached the stage where the documents are to be signed in another 1 or 2 days. And then to kind of go back and fix it. I mean, this is not an unfixable problem. It can be fixed, but everything takes time, and time is money.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And you lose. I mean, the investor is not going to wait around and say, oh, okay, fine, you figure out how you're going to fix this issue. So, there was this whole panic mode and all of that. I mean, we figured something out, but there was a lot of, almost deal breaking situations that kind of stood up at that point. But all that I'm trying to say is that it's a very small thing. And this is where I come in. This is where I advise. Say, do not get into don't, just because you're not fundraising, right? That's not the only time when you need a lawyer. For compliance, it's always important. And that's the role that I handhold companies with. And we don't do only early stage companies. We do companies all through, right? All the way from the startups to listed companies, multinational companies. Everybody needs compliance. Everybody needs compliance.
Right.
I mean, you work. You have to. Anybody who does business within the legal framework and has to comply, which is everybody. So we advise all corporate houses.
Absolutely. And it's good to be proactive and do something about it rather than be reactive, which in your example can cost you time, money, and a huge opportunity. Right? I think as entrepreneurs, that's another thing, is that you may have the foresightedness in terms of the product or the service that you're launching, but you're not an expert in everything. You're not expected to be the expert at everything. And get a team of experts in place, right? I think and that's a great point right there, because it's so critical.
What's happened is, as a lawyer who's always, unfortunately, our job is to look for the worst case situation, right?
I know.
You always tell your clients that if this, unforeseen episode happens, or if this, this kind of a situation happens, then these are the protections that we should build into the document, right? And then they say, no, nothing is going to happen. I've known this person for this long, or this person comes highly recommended, or this deal is definitely going to happen. This is what we foresee if the deal happens. I said, yes, that's true. But we are, our job is to tell you what can go wrong, and therefore predict to a large extent and preempt, issues of this sort.
Yeah, it's about protecting your interests. And I think each one of us need to do that, right? We do need to protect our interests and kind of look out for things that are not settling in well, maybe. But at the same time, there could be no indication of something being wrong. It's just about predicting and being future ready in every sense. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. You said that you've come a long way from being one woman to multiple women, and that really always stands out for me when I hear that. How has that journey been for you as a women entrepreneur in your own right?
So I'm very particular that my whole team is an all-woman team. Okay. I think that it not only there's one thing to say that I am the woman who is leading my team, and this is what I do, and this is how I balance home and work, and somehow still make it in or think that I make it in these things. But I'd also like to guide my team. We have young girls in the office who are very talented and very smart, but I think when they work in this environment, it helps them also believe that you can stick on, you can continue doing this. This is you don't have to drop off when even if you're reaching a childbearing age. You say, okay, no, this you don't have to drop off. You are allowed to take a break, but take your breaks carefully. And I believe that I'd like to not just be myself, but also train my team. So I'm particular that when I hire, we like to maintain an all-women team. I've been asked, saying, why do you not have male juniors? Are you not being biased? But I feel that my value add is not just teaching my team the law and the work that you have to do professionally, but it's also a life skill. It's a life skill for them to see and to work with somebody and to see how how things work and how to take things forward and keep at it. Most importantly, keep at it. It's going to be a good day. There's going to be a very tough day, but you just keep showing up, and it's all going to fall in place. Hopefully, it's all going to fall in place. But I think it's just important to show up.
Yeah. And you being such a good role model in that sense too, right? Where people have certain aspirations. And they look at you and they say, well, if she's done it, I can do it too. And I know she's got my back. If ever I falter or if ever I lose my way, or if there is an opportunity, I know she's going to share that with me and we can grow together in that sense. So having that kind of faith in each other, working together as partners.
Yeah, it works both ways, right? I mean,
yes,
we're all for each other. We're all doing
correct.
this together, right? I mean, that's when it works as a team. That's when it shows the confidence. And it's nice to put more women at a negotiation table.
Yeah,
it has a power in itself, and I think that we should represent and put and ensure that more of us are shown or have a public face, so that the society starts saying, okay, yes, everybody can do it all. It's just not just one person standing up and talking. We'd like to put as many women in the workforce and keep at it for as long as we can.
Yeah. And again, that support, creating that support system for each other is also critical in that sense. And again, having come such a long way, was there ever a time when you felt like, I can't do this, I'm done, I call it quits? I hope there wasn't, but was there?
It's an every end of day thought. It's an every day thing. It's literally every day. But it's also that there are recognitions that come along the way. There are some very interesting transactions that we work on, not just the small ones, not just the big ones in sense of the size of the deals or the complexity of the deals. It's everything, and that's what keeps you going, right? When somebody says, she advised me on this deal and it was a seamless deal. It worked out for us very well and everything went off so smooth. These little accolades that come by, I think that and you wake up in the morning, you're like, oh, okay, last night I thought it was quits, but well, today I have 20 more to respond to, so I'm back to it's tough, but like I said, it's an everyday thing. You're balancing work, you're balancing a home, but you know what you have to do if you want to keep doing it, and if you're good at something, there's no reason why you should not do it, right?
Yeah. Besides the recognition and everything that you talked about, is there anything else that has kept you in that zone, where you are constantly achieving, breaking barriers, moving forward?
When I say recognition, it's recognition on all fronts, right?
Okay.
Recognition from home, recognition from your peers, recognition from your colleagues that you work with, from your seniors, your juniors. People from college reach out from my college and say, ma'am, we really look up to you, to what you've achieved and what you've done. So it's not really an official recognition or an accolade of sorts, but it's
correct.
One-liner that really keep you going. And the fact that there is so much trust and dependency from your clients on you, that if you didn't show up and if you just let go on one day and just, you can very well hand over your practice to somebody else, but you've built that circle of trust. They believe that you're always one phone call away, and I think that's really what kind of keeps you going. That's So we were doing this one deal where it was a listed company, and on Monday morning the deadline was that they have to make the necessary reporting to SEBI because it's a listed, and we had like 4 days to finish the deal. And through the weekend we had to be on call for literally negotiating, making edits to the draft, coordinating with the other side, everything end to end. The whole deal was done in like 4 days, literally. And through those 4 days, it was a weekend. We started on Friday. It had to be done on Monday. And, my kids had back-to-back activities, post school and all of that. And I was literally driving around the city, but still on call, doing the whole thing. And literally Monday morning when it came and we closed the deal successfully. And when that happened, it was a huge sigh of relief, because I said, oh my God, that was probably the most challenging deal of them all. There are complexities on a legal view, but I think managing it together and still saying, well, if it has to be done, it has to be done. There's no changing that. It's not a flexible deadline. So
Yeah. Yeah.
that's the idea.
It's like you've been dealt these cards and you have to kind of work with those, right? That's
It's
it. There is
great.
no alternative.
Yeah, but I'm not complaining. I'm very happy. I'm happy that
Yeah.
I'm in this position. I'm happy for the opportunities that have come my way. Very grateful for all the people who've supported and believed that, you know, I can do it. So I'm not complaining. Yeah, it is hard, but
Yeah.
I
No, and
guess
it is
that's the
what it
challenge.
is. I love the fact that you're calling it out. Yes, it is tough. I'm not going to bicker about it because I would rather fold the practice rather than having complaining. I think I love the kind of positivity that you're radiating, and there's so much gratitude in what you're saying, and that is definitely coming across. So no two ways about it. I think um, a lot of us sometimes just get swirled up in the challenges that we are facing. Um, what you've really done for yourself is you've looked at that ray of light and you're like, that's it. My clients, that's it. They need me and I'm not gonna give up on them. And that's your reason, maybe sometimes, not all the time, to get up and say, let's tackle another day. Let's see what it brings. And I
Absolutely.
can hear that. I can hear that. I can definitely, in the stories that you've shared, it is coming across so clearly that you're just so resilient in that sense. Yeah, you so much of grit that you've shown and the career that you built for yourself. It's truly commendable.
Thank you.
So, Goda, I was also wondering, if TIE, as you know, is a fantastic network of women entrepreneurs that are young entrepreneurs, right? And if you have any takeaways for these women entrepreneurs or young girls who want to enter or maybe grow in their career in corporate law, uh, any advice, suggestions that you would want to share with them, it'll be great.
Sure. So I've worked with several women who have been part of the Thai Women Network. I've been
Yeah.
associated with them, mentoring, a bunch of women entrepreneurs, and
Mm-hmm.
it's been an absolute delight and inspiring process to see, how much effort everybody is putting in. And I think the one thing that I've seen as a common thread to people who do it is to just really believe in yourself, believe that you can do it, right? There are going to be ups and downs. There are going to be situations where you feel like, am I good enough? Is what I'm doing good enough? Um, I mean, sure, you can make edits along the way. You can definitely tweak things along the way to see what works for you, what doesn't work. Some days you could feel like, oh my God, I've invested so much time, but this is just not working, right? But that
Mm-hmm.
happens to
Mm-hmm.
everybody. But I think the most important thing is to just believe that come what may, you can do this, whatever happens. And the easiest way to make it is to believe that if you keep doing what you do, you will do it well. And when you do it well, it's bound to work out, right? So I think that's really the key takeaway, and the opportunities are unlimited, right? I think that for a platform like TIE, I myself have benefited a lot because of the network I'm able to build. It doesn't matter
Mm-hmm.
which area you're working in, what you do, and uh, what's your main core area of work. I think what's important is to always put yourself out there. And when you do,
Yeah.
you build a network. You get to know more people, your opportunities open up, your exposure is that much more. And all of this drives you, right? To, initially, when I would walk into a room, I would be this one person that nobody knew in that room. And,
Yeah.
in all of these networking events, I would be like, okay, nobody knows me in this room. But it's changed, right? Because you keep showing up. And now people, kind of shake hands and say, "Oh, hi, Goda," and then you feel like, okay, you are somebody in that room. So for that, I think, yeah, it's important to focus and do what you do, but it's equally important to put yourself out there, because if you don't, uh, in today's world, no, there's just so much going on so fast. So if you don't put yourself out there, nobody knows what you're doing. You may be doing great work, but you don't. It's not enough if you just do the great work. You need to talk about the great work you do. So I guess it's not just the women, but it's in general that if you're doing good work, talk about it and just believe in yourself. I think that this reinforcement of believing in yourself is probably something that maybe women need to be told more. I don't know why, but I tell myself often, because I myself feel like, oh no, I need to also believe it. It happens even till date, 15 years into practice, still need to keep telling myself that, but yeah.
Yeah, and that's okay if you have to tell yourself, if you have to remind yourself, right? Because, and maybe, I don't know where that comes from, as I think we are all clueless as to where we have this thing where we generally tend to lose faith faster in ourselves than our, the other part of the species, the males, right? The men. And I don't know where that comes from, really, honestly. But yes, it does take twice the effort, maybe, to stay on track, to remain purposeful, to do meaningful work, to help that self-efficacy, that belief, the conviction that we talk about, right? And to really, communicate that conviction. Super, super, super important, because I say that too all the time, is that gone are the days when we'd say, my work will talk for itself. Nope, you got to talk for yourself. Let's be clear about that. And I think at the same time, what sometimes we miss out on is it's okay to ask for help. You're being very strong when you ask for help and not weak. It's not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of self-awareness. And people who get that will be reaching out to you as well and saying, I'm willing to help you. So look for those people.
100%. I think that's not just from a professional front, because one is to ask for professional help, right? I mean, very small thing like, I've never done this kind of a transaction before, so you've done one of this. Can you tell me as to how to go about it? So something as it's okay. I mean, you cannot have possibly handled every situation on your own. So the more people you talk to, the more knowledge you get. You're more aware of what's going on and how to handle a certain situation. In addition to that, it's okay to take help on your, let's say, home front, so that you're able to show up professionally. It's okay to take help on your professional front. Like in my office, my kids are at work with me when I'm at work, and I mean, it is what it is, right? I mean, I need to show up. My clients need me to be at a certain place at a certain time, and well, what do you do on holidays? They are in the office. Literally my whole office knows we're a team of like 35 people between Chennai and Bangalore, and the team knows that I just know, her kids are on holiday. But it's okay, right? It's okay. You're doing your work. You're turning out what you have to do. You have that seriousness, that focus, to keep yourself going. So why not? So I think looking out for help, asking for help, and there are so many different kinds of help that you're looking for. And I think it's very important to find your network, that community that you get help from for what you're looking for. Because each person is looking for different things at different stages of their lives. They are looking for different kinds of help. And when you keep it to yourself, I think you're not doing justice to doing everything, right? You can do many things, but if you don't get that kind, if you don't ask, you don't get the support. Without that support, you can only do that much.
Exactly. You're limiting yourself by not asking, I would say. Huh? Absolutely. So I think one of the key messages you had was never give up. And the second was talk about the work that you're doing. Very important. Very critical. And I think that can definitely, if you don't look at challenge as a restrictive factor, but you look at it as fuel to propel you, I think that's just the way to go for all of us.
Yep.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Thank you so much, Goda. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. I really appreciate you taking the time. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me. Thank you.